The marble lobby of Castellano Industries gleamed under cold fluorescent lights as Celeste Morgan adjusted her thick-rimmed glasses. Her oversized gray cardigan swallowed her small frame, and her dark hair was scraped back into the same tight bun she'd worn every single day for 3 years. At 26, she had perfected the art of disappearing. The elevator climbed to the 52nd floor. Through the glass walls, Manhattan sprawled below like a kingdom she would never touch. She clutched the perfectly prepared espresso, its bitter scent mixing with her familiar dread. Roman Castellano stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his corner office, broad shoulders filling out his custom Italian suit. At 32, he commanded empires with a glance. His steel-gray eyes missed nothing in boardrooms, yet somehow had never truly seen the woman who managed every detail of his life. "Your schedule for today, Mr. Castellano." Celeste's voice was barely above a whisper as she placed the espresso on his desk. Roman glanced up. His eyes slid over her like she was furniture. "Cancel the 3 o'clock with Peterson. Move the board meeting to tomorrow." "Already done, sir. I anticipated you might want more time to review the Morrison acquisition files." For half a second, something flickered across Roman's face. Surprise, maybe. It vanished. "Fine. Anything else?" Celeste's fingers tightened on her leather portfolio. "The Children's Hospital charity gala tomorrow night. Your companion, Ms. Winters, canceled this morning. Family emergency. Would you like me to arrange another escort?" Roman's jaw clenched. The gala was crucial for his philanthropic image. Arriving alone would spark gossip that could affect the merger. No need. His voice carried that edge that ended conversations. "You'll accompany me." The portfolio nearly slipped from her hands. "I'm sorry, sir?" "You heard me. You know all my business associates, understand the deals, can handle any conversation that might arise. It makes perfect sense." "Sir, I don't have anything appropriate to wear to such an event." "Take the corporate card. Buy whatever you need." He turned back to his windows, dismissing her. "I need someone competent by my side, not another shallow socialite who only cares about being photographed." That afternoon, Celeste stood outside Bergdorf Goodman, the corporate card burning in her purse. She had never spent more than $50 on a single piece of clothing in her entire life. Inside, a sales associate named Miranda approached with professional courtesy that barely masked surprise. "I need something. For the Children's Hospital charity gala." Celeste's voice trembled. Miranda's expression transformed. "Of course. Let's find you something absolutely perfect." Hours blurred together. Miranda selected a midnight blue gown that hugged curves Celeste had spent years hiding. The silk shimmered with subtle elegance, sophisticated yet breathtaking. "Now for the finishing touches," Miranda declared, leading her to accessories. The next morning, Celeste called in sick for the first time in 3 years. At a luxury salon Miranda had recommended, stylists freed her dark hair from its perpetual bun. Soft waves cascaded over her shoulders. Contact lenses replaced thick glasses, revealing stunning emerald eyes. Professional makeup enhanced features she'd forgotten she had. When Celeste looked in the mirror that evening, she barely recognized herself. The woman staring back was confident, beautiful. For the first time in years, she felt like herself instead of hiding behind a carefully constructed mask of invisibility. Roman stood in the Plaza Hotel lobby, checking his watch. His assistant was late. Several business associates had already approached, and he needed someone who could navigate these conversations intelligently. "Excuse me, are you Roman Castellano?" He turned toward the voice and froze. The woman before him was breathtaking. Her midnight blue gown accentuated every curve. Light danced across the silk as she moved. Emerald eyes sparkled with intelligence and something deeper, something hidden. "I'm sorry, do we know each other?" The words came out rough. "It's me, Mr. Castellano, Celeste, your assistant." Roman's mind reeled. This goddess was his mousy secretary. The woman he'd barely noticed for 3 years was standing before him looking like she'd stepped out of a dream he didn't know he'd been having. "Celeste." He said her name like he was tasting it for the first time. "You look different." She smiled, and something shifted inside his chest. "Something dangerous. I hope that's not a problem, sir." As they entered the ballroom together, every head turned. Men stared at Celeste with obvious admiration. Their wives whispered behind silk fans. For the first time in his life, Roman felt possessive about a woman. "Mr. Castellano, wonderful to see you." Senator Harrison approached with his wife. "And who is this lovely lady?" Roman's hand found the small of Celeste's back. Electricity shot through both of them. "Senator Harrison, I'd like you to meet Celeste Morgan, my companion for the evening." Celeste smiled graciously and immediately engaged the senator's wife in conversation about the hospital's new pediatric wing. Roman watched her, truly seeing her for the first time. She was brilliant, charming, everything he never knew he was looking for. "You're full of surprises, Miss Morgan," he murmured when they were alone again. "You never asked." "Mr. Castellano?" Her words hit him like a punch. 3 years. 3 years of treating her like she was invisible. "Dance with me," he said. It wasn't a request. On the dance floor, with her body pressed against his, Roman realized something terrifying. He didn't want this night to end. He didn't want her to disappear back behind those ugly glasses and that horrible cardigan. He wanted to know who she really was. "Why do you hide?" The question escaped before he could stop it. Celeste's emerald eyes met his, and for a moment, he saw something broken beneath the beauty. "Because it's safer that way." Safer from what? Before she could answer, a man's voice cut through the music. Cold. Familiar in a way that made Celeste's face drain of color. Well, if it isn't Celeste Moreau. Roman felt her body go rigid in his arms. Her breathing quickened. When he looked at the man approaching them, something in his gut twisted. The man was polished, expensively dressed, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He looked at Celeste like he owned her. "You changed your name," the man said softly. "How clever. Did you really think you could hide forever?" "Who are you?" Roman's voice carried warning. The man's smile widened. "I'm Victor Moreau, and Celeste here is my wife." The ballroom seemed to tilt. Roman's hand tightened on Celeste's waist as she swayed. "That's impossible," Roman said, his voice deadly calm. "Miss Morgan is not married." Victor's laugh was soft, cruel. "Is that what she told you? How convenient. We've been married for 5 years, though she did run away 3 years ago. Took quite a bit of my money with her, too." He's lying. Celeste's voice was barely a whisper, but Roman felt the tremor running through her body. "We're divorced, separated," Victor corrected smoothly. "The paperwork was never finalized. You disappeared before signing the final documents. Legally, darling, you're still mine." Roman stepped between them, his body a wall of protection. "I think you should leave." "I don't think so." Victor's eyes glittered. "You see, Celeste stole $2 million from our joint accounts. That's felony theft. I could have her arrested right now." He paused, savoring the moment. "But I'm willing to be reasonable. Come home, Celeste. Make this right, and I'll forget the whole thing." "I'd rather die," Celeste said, and Roman heard the truth in it. This was what she'd been hiding from. This was why she'd made herself invisible. "Your choice." Victor pulled out his phone. "Should I call the police, or should we discuss this like adults?" "Put the phone away." Roman's voice could have cut glass. "How much?" Victor smiled. "Excuse me? How much to make you disappear? To finalize the divorce and never contact her again?" "Roman, no." Celeste grabbed his arm. "You can't do this." $5 million, Victor said immediately. "Plus a signed NDA, and I want it by Monday." "Done. My lawyers will have the papers drawn up tomorrow." Victor's smile widened. "Pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Castellano. Celeste, I'll be in touch." He walked away, swallowed by the crowd. Celeste pulled away from Roman, her face pale. "I need to leave." She moved toward the exit, but Roman caught her wrist. "Let me go. Not a chance." "We're going to talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. I lied to you. I lied on my employment application. I used a fake name. You should fire me and forget this ever happened. Is that what you want? To disappear again?" Celeste's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. "It's what I'm good at." Roman pulled her into a private alcove, away from prying eyes. The space was small, intimate. He could smell her perfume, something floral and devastating. "Tell me the truth. All of it. Why? So you can judge me? So you can look at me the way everyone else does?" I want to understand. Celeste laughed, but it sounded broken. You want to understand? Fine. I married Victor when I was 21. I was stupid and desperate and alone. My parents died when I was 19, left me with nothing but debt. Victor seemed like salvation. He was charming, successful, said all the right things. What happened? He happened. The real Victor. The one who needed to control everything. What I wore, who I spoke to, where I went. The one who got angry when I didn't obey. The one whose anger left bruises I had to hide. Roman's jaw clenched so hard he thought his teeth might crack. He hurt you. He owned me. Or thought he did. I planned my escape for a year. Saved every dollar I could hide. The $2 million he mentioned? That was my inheritance. Money my parents left me that was in a joint account because he insisted. I took what was mine and I ran. Changed my name. Changed everything. Made myself invisible so he could never find me. Why didn't you go to the police? And say what? That my wealthy, connected husband hit me? That I took money from our joint account? Victor's family has judges in their pocket, Roman. I would have ended up in jail or worse. So I disappeared. And it worked. For 3 years it worked. Roman stepped closer. The space between them crackled with something dangerous and electric. You should have told me. Would you have hired me if you knew? Would you have looked at me the same way? I never looked at you at all. And that was my failure, not yours. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. I'll pay him back, Celeste said softly. Every penny. I'll work for you for free if I have to. But I won't let you throw away $5 million on me. It's not about the money. Then what is it about? Roman's hand came up, his thumb brushing across her cheekbone. The touch was gentle, devastating. I don't know yet. But I know I'm not letting you disappear again. Celeste's breath hitched. Roman, this is a mistake. You don't want someone like me. Someone broken and running and terrified. You're not broken. You're a survivor. I'm a liar. You did what you had to do to stay alive. There's no shame in that. The tears finally fell. Roman pulled her against his chest and she let him. She let herself break in his arms, something she hadn't done in 3 years. I'm scared, she whispered against his shirt. I know, but you're not alone anymore. They stood like that for a long time, her body shaking with silent sobs, his arms a fortress around her. When she finally pulled back, her makeup was ruined and her eyes were red. But to Roman, she had never been more beautiful. Come home with me, he said. Roman, I can't do that. It's not appropriate. I don't care about appropriate. You're not going back to your apartment alone. Not tonight. Not when he knows where to find you. Fear flickered across her face. You think he'll come after me? I think he's a predator who just realized his prey escaped. And I'm not taking any chances. They left through a side entrance, avoiding the crowds. Roman's driver brought the car around, and they slid into the back seat. The city lights blurred past the windows as they drove toward Roman's penthouse in Tribeca. Celeste stared out the window, her reflection ghostly in the glass. I used to dream about being saved. When I was married to Victor, I'd lie in bed and imagine someone coming to rescue me, someone strong and powerful who would make it all stop. What happened to those dreams? I realized no one was coming. That if I wanted to be saved, I'd have to save myself. So I did. Roman's hand found hers in the darkness. Their fingers intertwined. You're right. You saved yourself. But that doesn't mean you have to fight alone anymore. The penthouse was all glass and steel, sophisticated and cold. But when Roman turned on the lights, Celeste saw touches of warmth. Books everywhere. Art that actually meant something. A space that felt lived in. Guest room is down the hall, Roman said. There's clothes in the closet, anything you need. Celeste stood in the middle of his living room, looking small and lost despite the stunning gown. Thank you. For everything. For not judging me. For not making me feel ashamed. Roman crossed the space between them. He cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs tracing her cheekbones. Listen to me. What he did to you, that's on him, not you. You are not broken or damaged or less than because someone hurt you. You're stronger than anyone I've ever met. You barely know me. Then let me know you. The real you. Not the woman hiding behind ugly cardigans and glasses. Not the perfect assistant who anticipates my every need. You, Celeste Moreau, or Morgan, or whatever name makes you feel safe. Something shifted in her eyes. Something dangerous and hopeful and terrifying. And if the real me is too much, too complicated, too damaged, then I'll deal with complicated and damaged. I've spent my whole life being perfect and controlled and alone. Maybe I need someone who understands what it's like to wear a mask. What mask do you wear, Roman Castellano? His smile was bitter. The one that says I don't need anyone. That I'm fine being alone. That power and money are enough. And are they? Not anymore. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. When his lips met hers, it was soft at first, tentative. Then Celeste's hands fisted in his shirt, and the kiss deepened, became desperate. Years of loneliness and fear and hiding poured into that kiss. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. "This is a bad idea," Celeste whispered. "Probably. You're my boss. I know. I'm still legally married to a man who wants to destroy me. We'll fix that. Roman, I'm serious. This could ruin everything." He pressed his forehead against hers. "Then let it burn. I don't care anymore." Celeste's phone buzzed. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Unknown number. She opened the text message and the blood drained from her face. Roman took the phone from her numb fingers. The message was simple, devastating. "Enjoy your billionaire while you can. He doesn't know what you really did, but he will. And when he does, he'll throw you away like the trash you are. See you Monday, wife." Roman looked at Celeste's terrified face. "What is he talking about? What else is there?" Celeste's voice was barely audible. "I didn't just take money from the joint account, Roman. I took files, documents, evidence of Victor's illegal business dealings, insurance in case he ever found me. And if he realizes I still have them, he won't just want me arrested. He'll want me dead." Roman's penthouse felt smaller in the gray morning light. Celeste sat curled on his leather couch, still wearing the midnight blue gown, now wrinkled and stained with tears. She hadn't slept. Neither had Roman. He stood at the window, still in his tuxedo shirt and pants, staring at Manhattan waking below. Between them on the coffee table sat a single flash drive, such a small thing to hold so much power. "Tell me what's on it." Roman's voice was carefully controlled. "Money laundering, offshore accounts, bribes to city officials. Victor's real estate company isn't just buying properties, it's cleaning money for some very dangerous people." Celeste's hands trembled as she picked up the flash drive. "I found the files by accident. He kept them on his home computer. I was looking for our bank statements and I found everything." "Why didn't you go to the FBI?" "Because I was terrified. Because Victor had already made me feel crazy and worthless and invisible. Because I didn't know if anyone would believe me or if I'd just end up dead in an alley somewhere." Her voice cracked. "So I copied everything and I ran. I've kept it as insurance. If he ever found me, I could threaten to expose him. It was the only power I had." Roman turned from the window. His face was unreadable. "This changes everything, I know. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. I'll disappear again. I'm good at it. Stop saying that." His voice was sharp. "You're not disappearing. We're going to fix this. How? Victor's connected, Roman. The people he works for don't forgive loose ends. And I'm the biggest loose end of all." Roman crossed to her, kneeling so they were eye level. "Listen to me. I have resources too. Lawyers, security, people who can protect you." "For how long? Forever? I can't live like a prisoner?" "Then we use the files. We turn them over to the authorities. We put Victor away." Celeste laughed, but it sounded broken. "You think it's that simple? He'll know it came from me. His lawyers will destroy my credibility. I'll be the scorned wife who stole money and made up lies. And even if by some miracle they believe me, the people he works for will come after me. They'll make sure I never testify." "Then what do you want to do?" The question hung between them. Celeste looked at him, really looked at him. This powerful man kneeling before her, offering to fight her battles. 3 days ago, he didn't even know she existed. Now he was willing to risk everything. "I want you to let me go. Before this destroys you too." Roman's jaw clenched. "Not happening. Why? Why do you even care? I'm nobody. I'm just your assistant who lied to you. Because when I look at you, I see myself. Someone hiding from the world. Someone so afraid of being hurt that they stopped living." His hands cupped her face. "And because somewhere between that dance floor and right now, I started falling for you. And I'm not a man who falls easily." Celeste's breath caught. "Roman, you don't mean that. You're just caught up in the moment, in the drama. When this is over, when things calm down, you'll realize you don't really want someone like me. Stop telling me what I want. I'm trying to protect you. I don't need protecting. I need you to trust me." Before Celeste could respond, Roman's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and his expression darkened. "What is it?" "Email from Victor's lawyer. He's moved up his timeline. He wants the $5 million by end of business today, or he's filing criminal charges tomorrow." "He's panicking," Celeste said softly. "He knows I have the files. He's trying to force my hand before I can use them." Then we call his bluff. "We go to the FBI right now." Celeste stood abruptly, pacing. "You're not listening. Even if the FBI takes the case, it'll take months or years to build it. Victor will be free that whole time, free to come after me, free to destroy my life, free to hurt me." The last words came out small, frightened. Roman saw her mask cracking, saw the terrified girl beneath the strong woman. "He won't touch you. I promise." "You can't promise that." "Nobody can." Roman's phone buzzed again. This time he answered, his voice clipped. "Castellano." He listened for a long moment, his face going carefully blank. "I see. When did this happen?" Another pause. "And you're certain?" His eyes found Celeste's. "Thank you. Keep me updated." He ended the call and set the phone down slowly. "What?" Celeste whispered. "That was my head of security. Victor Moreau was found dead in his hotel room an hour ago. Apparent suicide. Single gunshot to the head." The words didn't make sense. Celeste's brain couldn't process them. "That's impossible. He texted me last night. He was threatening me. He wanted money. He wouldn't kill himself. He wouldn't." The police found a note. It confessed to abuse, to financial crimes. It apologized to you specifically. Celeste's legs gave out. Roman caught her before she hit the floor, guiding her back to the couch. "This doesn't make sense," she kept saying. "Victor wouldn't do this. He was too arrogant, too convinced of his own invincibility. This doesn't make sense." But even as she said it, a cold realization crept through her. Victor's sudden appearance at the gala, his public threats, his accelerated timeline. He was creating a record, making sure people knew he'd found her, making sure Roman knew about the money. Someone killed him. The words came out flat, certain. Someone killed him and made it look like suicide. And they wanted to make sure I was connected to it. Make sure there were witnesses to our confrontation. Roman's expression turned grim. The people he worked for. They must have found out about the files, about the insurance I kept, and they're tying up loose ends. Celeste stood, her body rigid with fear and adrenaline, which means I'm next. "No, you're not going anywhere without protection. I'm calling my security team right now." "Roman, don't you understand? These aren't people who are scared of security teams. They killed Victor in a hotel room in Manhattan and made it look like suicide. They have resources, connections. They're probably already watching us." As if on cue, Roman's penthouse lights went out. Emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in red. "Building lost power," Roman said, already moving toward the door. But when he tried the handle, it wouldn't budge. "We're locked in." Celeste grabbed the flash drive from the coffee table, clutching it like a lifeline. "They're coming for the files. They're coming for me." Roman pulled out his phone. No signal. He tried the landline. Dead. "The panic room," he said suddenly. "This way." He led her through the penthouse to his bedroom, to what looked like a closet door. But when he pressed his palm to a hidden panel, the wall slid back, revealing a reinforced steel room. "Small but secure. Get inside. Lock it from the inside. There's communication equipment, supplies. Don't open it for anyone but me." "What about you?" "I'm going to find out who's in my building." "Roman, no. If they're willing to kill Victor, they won't hesitate to kill you. They need you alive to find out where the files are. They need me alive because killing a billionaire brings too much attention. We have leverage." "That's not leverage. That's a death wish." Roman pulled her close, kissing her hard. "Trust me. Get in the panic room. I'll come back for you," Celeste wanted to argue. But she could already hear sounds in the penthouse. Footsteps. Multiple people. Professional. Military precise. Roman pushed her gently toward the panic room. She stumbled inside, turning back to look at him. "Roman, please. I'll find you. I promise." He closed the door. Celeste heard the locks engage with a heavy thunk. Through the security monitor, she watched Roman walk back into his bedroom, his posture calm and controlled. 3 men in tactical gear entered. They moved like soldiers, weapons drawn but lowered. Non-threatening but ready, Mr. Castellano, the lead man said. His voice was smooth, educated. We're here for the woman and the files. Make this easy on everyone. I don't know what you're talking about, Roman said coolly. Victor Moreau's widow. She's here. We know she has documents that belong to our employers. We're here to retrieve them. She's not here, the man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. We have thermal imaging, Mr. Castellano. We know there are 2 heat signatures in this penthouse. You and someone in a hidden room behind you. Now we can do this the easy way, where you open that door and hand over the files and everyone walks away. Or we can do this the hard way. I'm not a fan of threats in my own home. It's not a threat. It's reality. These documents implicate some very powerful people. People who don't leave loose ends. Ms. Moreau was a loose end. Victor Moreau was a loose end. You're about to become a loose end if you don't cooperate. Inside the panic room, Celeste watched through the monitor, her heart hammering. She saw Roman's calculated expression, saw him weighing options. How much? Roman asked. Excuse me? How much to walk away? To tell your employers the files don't exist. To let her live? The man laughed. You can't buy your way out of this one, Mr. Castellano. This isn't a business deal. Everything's a business deal. Not this. This is survival. Now open the door. Roman's hand moved to his pocket. All 3 men raised their weapons instantly. Easy, Roman said. Just calling my lawyer. No calls. No lawyers. Just the files and the woman. In the panic room, Celeste made a decision. She couldn't let Roman die for her. She couldn't hide while he sacrificed himself. Her fingers moved across the control panel, finding the intercom button. Wait! Her voice crackled through the speakers. I'll come out. Just don't hurt him. Celeste, no! Roman's mask finally cracked, showing fear. Real fear. It's okay, she said softly. This is my mess. I'm not letting you die for it. The panic room door began to slide open. Roman moved to block it, but one of the men grabbed him, forcing him back. Celeste stepped out, flash drive in hand. Here, she said, holding it out. This is what you want. Take it and leave him alone. The lead man took the drive, examining it. Smart girl. See how easy that was? Now let us go. I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, you're still a loose end. You know too much. You've seen too much. The man raised his weapon, pointing it at Celeste's head. Roman lunged forward, but the other 2 men held him back. No! Roman's voice was raw, desperate. Celeste closed her eyes, waiting for the shot. But it didn't come. Instead, the penthouse windows exploded inward. Glass rained down as federal agents rappelled through, weapons drawn, voices shouting commands. FBI, drop your weapons. Hands where I can see them. The 3 men didn't hesitate. They moved as a unit, laying down their weapons, hands up. They'd been trained for this. Professionals caught in the act. An agent approached Celeste, his voice gentle. Ms. Moreau, you're safe now. We've been monitoring your situation for the past 3 hours. Celeste's legs gave out again. Roman broke free from his captors, catching her. I don't understand, she whispered. The agent smiled. Your friend here contacted us this morning. Told us everything. We've had this building under surveillance since dawn. Those files you have, they're exactly what we needed to bring down the Volkov organization. We've been investigating them for years. Celeste looked at Roman, understanding dawning. You called them. This morning. I told you I'd protect you. I meant it. But how did they get here so fast? Because I made the call 4 hours ago, Roman admitted. When you fell asleep on the couch, I knew we couldn't do this alone. I knew we needed help. Real help. You could have told me. You would have argued. You would have tried to run. He was right. She would have. More agents flooded the penthouse. The 3 men were led away in handcuffs. Someone draped a blanket over Celeste's shoulders. The city blazed with morning light beyond the shattered windows. It's over, Roman said softly. You're free. But Celeste heard something in his voice. Something final. Something that sounded like goodbye, Roman? He stood, stepping back from her, creating distance. The FBI will need your testimony. They'll put you in protective custody until the trial. It might take months. Okay. And after, you should probably relocate. New name, new life. Actually invisible this time. I don't want to be invisible anymore. Roman's expression was carefully controlled. Back to the mask. You should go. The agents are waiting to debrief you." "Roman, what are you doing?" "Letting you go. Like you asked." "That was before." "Before what? Before you almost died because of me? Because I dragged you to that gala? Because I couldn't leave well enough alone?" Celeste stood, the blanket falling away. "Before I realized you were worth staying for. I'm not. I'm just a billionaire who got caught up in playing hero. You were right last night. When this calms down, when the adrenaline fades, I'll realize this was just drama. Just excitement. Not real. You're lying." "I'm being practical. You're being scared." Roman's mask cracked. "Of course I'm scared. I watched someone point a gun at your head. I thought I was going to watch you die. And I realized that somewhere in the past 48 hours, you became the most important thing in my world. And that terrifies me, because people I care about get hurt. They leave, they die. And I can't go through that again." Celeste crossed to him, taking his face in her hands. "So your solution is to push me away first? To make sure you're alone before I can leave? It's easier this way." "For who?" "For both of us." "Liar." She kissed him. He resisted for half a second before his arms came around her, crushing her against him. The kiss tasted like fear and relief and something deeper, something that felt like forever. When they broke apart, both were shaking. "I don't know how to do this," Roman admitted. "I don't know how to be with someone. How to not be alone. Then we'll figure it out together. What if I fail? What if I let you down? Then we'll fail together." "But Roman, I'm not going anywhere. Not unless you tell me right now that you don't want me. That this was all just adrenaline and drama and nothing real." Roman looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman who'd been invisible for 3 years. The woman who'd saved herself. The woman who'd made him feel something real for the first time in his life. "I want you," he said simply. "God help me, I want you." "Then you have me." An agent cleared his throat. "Sorry to interrupt, but we really do need to get Ms. Moreau to a secure location." Celeste turned to Roman, sudden fear on her face. "This isn't goodbye?" "No, I'll be there every step of the way. Testimony, trial, whatever comes next. You're not doing this alone. Promise." "I promise. No more disappearing. For either of us." As the agents led her away, Celeste looked back one more time. Roman stood in his destroyed penthouse, surrounded by broken glass and bullet holes. But he was smiling. Really smiling. For the first time in 3 years, Celeste Morgan wasn't invisible. And for the first time in his life, Roman Castellano wasn't alone. But as she stepped into the elevator, Celeste's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She opened it with trembling fingers. The message was simple, devastating. "Did you really think it would be that easy? The Volkov family always collects their debts. See you soon, Celeste. And this time, your billionaire can't save you." The FBI safe house was a converted brownstone in Queens. Unremarkable and anonymous. Celeste had been there for 6 days. 6 days of depositions and interviews and federal agents promising her everything would be fine. 6 days of not seeing Roman except through secured video calls that lasted 5 minutes and felt like torture. Agent Sarah Chen sat across from her at the kitchen table, reviewing testimony notes. The woman was professional, kind even, but Celeste couldn't shake the text message that kept burning in her mind. "The Volkov family always collects their debts." "You're doing great," Sarah said, closing her laptop. "The prosecutor says your testimony will be the cornerstone of the case. We've already arrested 12 members of the organization based on your evidence." "Have you found Dmitry Volkov yet?" Sarah's expression flickered. "Just for a second. We're working on it." "That's not an answer. Dmitry Volkov is very good at staying hidden, but we have his entire operation under surveillance. He can't move without us knowing." Celeste wanted to believe her. She really did. Her phone rang. Restricted number. Sarah nodded permission to answer. "Hello? God, I miss your voice." Roman's voice was rough, exhausted. "How are you holding up?" "I'm fine. You?" "Lying. You're not fine." Despite everything, Celeste smiled. "How do you know?" "Because I know you now. Really know you. And I can hear it in your voice when you're scared." "I got another message. From the Volkovs. They said they're coming for me." Silence on the line. "Then the FBI knows?" "Yes, they said it's just intimidation tactics." "Do you believe them?" "No," Roman's sigh was heavy. "Neither do I. Which is why I'm coming to see you." "Roman, you can't. It's not safe. The FBI said any outside contact could compromise my location. I don't care about protocol. I care about you, and I need to see you. To know you're really okay. I am okay. I'm surrounded by federal agents with guns. That didn't stop them last time. The words hung between them, heavy with truth. Those men had gotten into Roman's penthouse, past his security, into his home. What was to stop them from finding a safe house? When? Celeste asked quietly. Tonight? I already cleared it with the FBI director. I'm calling in every favor I have. What did you tell him? That you're the most important thing in my life. And that if anything happens to you because I'm not there, I'll make his career very difficult. Celeste laughed, but it came out watery. That's romantic and slightly terrifying. That's me. Romantic and terrifying. See you at 8, the call ended. Celeste looked at Agent Chen, who was pretending she hadn't heard every word. He's very persistent, Sarah said with a slight smile. You have no idea. That evening, Celeste changed into actual clothes for the first time in days. Nothing fancy, just jeans and a sweater. But she brushed her hair, put on minimal makeup. Tried to look like the woman Roman had danced with instead of the scared girl hiding in a safe house. At exactly 8, the doorbell rang. Sarah checked the security monitors before opening the door. Roman stood on the doorstep, looking like he'd aged years in 6 days. His suit was immaculate as always, but his eyes were haunted. The moment he saw Celeste, something in his expression broke. Give us a minute? He asked Sarah. The agent nodded, retreating to the kitchen but staying within sight. Protocol. Roman crossed to Celeste in 3 long strides, pulling her into his arms. She felt him shaking. I can't do this, he said against her hair. I can't sit in my office pretending to work while you're here in danger. I can't sleep. I can't think. All I see is that gun pointed at your head. I'm okay. I'm safe here. Are you? Because I've spent the past 6 days having my security team investigate the FBI's witness protection protocols. Do you know how many witnesses they've lost to organized crime? Roman, don't. 12. In the past 5 years, 12 people who trusted the system to protect them and ended up dead anyway. Celeste pulled back to look at him. What are you saying? I'm saying we need a backup plan. I'm saying I can't trust the FBI to keep you safe when they can't even find Dmitry Volkov. I'm saying I want to take you somewhere they'll never find you. Somewhere we can disappear until this is over. That's witness tampering. You'd go to jail? I don't care. I care. Roman, I'm not letting you destroy your life for me. I'm not worth it. His hands framed her face, his eyes intense. You're worth everything. Don't you understand that yet? Before Celeste could respond, the lights flickered. Once, twice, then darkness. Emergency backup lights kicked in, bathing everything in red. Sarah's voice cut through the sudden tension. Everyone stay calm. It's probably just a power surge. But her hand was on her weapon, and 3 other agents appeared from different parts of the house, all armed, all tense. Take Ms. Moreau to the basement, Sarah ordered. Now. Roman's arm came around Celeste protectively as an agent tried to lead them away. But before they could move, the front windows exploded inward. Not glass breaking, something else. Gas canisters rolled across the floor, spewing thick white smoke. Gas! Everyone out! Sarah's voice was muffled as she pulled her shirt over her nose. But the smoke was fast, aggressive. Celeste felt her eyes burning, her lungs seizing. She heard gunfire. Shouts. Chaos. Roman's arms were around her, dragging her toward what she thought was the back door. The smoke was so thick she couldn't see 6 inches in front of her face. Then hands grabbed her, ripping her away from Roman. She tried to scream, but the smoke choked it off. She felt herself being lifted, carried. Heard Roman shouting her name. More gunfire than air. Cold night air. She was outside, being thrown into a vehicle. Door slamming. Engine roaring to life. As the smoke cleared from her eyes, Celeste found herself in the back of a van. 3 men in tactical gear surrounded her, weapons drawn but not pointed at her. Don't try anything stupid, one of them said. You're worth more alive than dead. For now. Where are you taking me? You'll find out soon enough. The van sped through Queens, weaving through traffic with practiced precision. Celeste's mind raced. The FBI would be tracking the van. They had helicopters, resources. They'd find her. But as minutes turned into an hour, as the van finally stopped in what looked like an abandoned warehouse district, doubt crept in. The men pulled her out roughly, but not violently. They weren't trying to hurt her. They were professionals doing a job. Somehow that was more terrifying than rage would have been. Inside the warehouse, a single chair sat under a spotlight. They guided her to it, zip-tied her wrists. Not tight enough to hurt, but secure enough that she couldn't escape. Then they left, all three of them. Just walked away, leaving her alone in the spotlight surrounded by darkness. Celeste's heart hammered. This was it. This was where they'd kill her. Where they'd make her disappear like Victor, like all the others who'd gotten in the Volkov family's way. Footsteps echoed in the darkness. Slow, deliberate. A figure emerged from the shadows. Not Dmitry Volkov. Sarah Chen. Agent Sarah Chen, who'd been protecting her, who'd promised her safety, who'd drunk coffee with her and promised everything would be okay. Celeste's blood turned to ice. No. Sarah's expression was apologetic but not regretful. I'm sorry, Celeste. I really am. You seem like a nice person, but you got involved in something much bigger than you understand. You're working for them, for the Volkovs. I've been working for them for 5 years. They pay much better than the FBI, and they're much more loyal to people who serve them well. The FBI will find me. They're probably tracking you right now. They're tracking a decoy van heading toward Connecticut. By the time they realize their mistake, this will all be over. Sarah pulled up a chair, sitting across from Celeste like they were having a casual conversation. Here's how this works. You're going to tell me where the real files are. Because the flash drive you gave those men at the penthouse, that was encrypted, password protected, and we need what's on it. I don't know the password. Yes, you do. You created it 3 years ago when you stole the files. You're smart, Celeste. You wouldn't have left your only insurance policy vulnerable. Celeste's mind raced. The password was a combination of her mother's birthday and her father's middle name, something only she would know. If I give you the password, you'll kill me. Probably. But if you don't give it to me, I'll kill Roman Castellano instead. I'll make it look like a suicide. Just like Victor. Tragic billionaire, overcome with grief over his lover's disappearance. Very convincing. The threat hit like a physical blow. You can't do that. He has too much security. Too much attention. So did Victor. So did the 12 FBI witnesses I personally helped eliminate over the past 5 years. I'm very good at my job, Celeste. Don't make me prove it on someone you care about. Tears burned Celeste's eyes. I trusted you. I know. That's what makes this so easy. You wanted so badly to believe someone could save you. Someone could make the bad things go away. But nobody saves us, Celeste. We're all just trying to survive. Is that what you tell yourself? That you're just surviving? Sarah stood, checking her watch. I'm giving you 10 minutes to decide. Password or Roman dies. Your choice. She walked away, disappearing into the darkness, leaving Celeste alone with her impossible decision. 8 minutes passed. Celeste could hear muffled voices in the darkness. Sarah on the phone with someone, giving orders. Each second that ticked by was another second closer to Roman's death. If she gave up the password, the Volkovs would have everything. They'd destroy the evidence. Get away with it all, and they'd kill her anyway. She knew too much. But if she didn't, Roman would die, and it would be her fault. Again. 7 minutes. She thought about Roman's face when he'd pulled her close at the safe house. The way he'd looked at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. The way he'd promised to protect her even when it meant risking everything. 6 minutes. A sound in the darkness. Footsteps. But different. Lighter. Faster. Celeste? A whisper. Roman's whisper. Roman? Oh God, you need to leave. It's a trap. Sarah's working for them. They're going to kill you. He emerged from the shadows, his suit torn, face bruised. I know. I figured it out about 3 minutes after they took you. How did you find me? I put a tracker on you. At the safe house, in case something like this happened. He was working on her zip ties with a knife. I don't trust easily, and I trusted the FBI even less after they lost 12 witnesses. The zip ties snapped. Celeste's hands were free. Roman pulled her up, already moving toward the exit, but Sarah's voice stopped them cold. Going somewhere? She stood at the warehouse entrance, gun drawn. Behind her, the 3 men from the van. All armed. No escape. It's over, Mr. Castellano. You should have stayed away. Now you're both loose ends. Roman stepped in front of Celeste, shielding her with his body. If you kill us, you'll have every law enforcement agency in the country hunting you. I'm not some anonymous witness. I'm Roman Castellano. My death will be investigated. By FBI agents, I'll help investigate. Tragic murder-suicide. Billionaire snaps under pressure. Kills his girlfriend and himself. Very sad. Very convincing. Sarah raised her weapon, pointing it at Roman's head. Celeste saw her finger tighten on the trigger. In that moment, Celeste made her choice. She'd spent 3 years running, 3 years hiding, 3 years letting fear control her. Not anymore. She stepped out from behind Roman, placing herself between him and the gun. Wait, she said. I'll give you the password. I'll give you everything. Just let him go. Celeste, no. Roman's voice was desperate. It's okay, she said softly, not taking her eyes off Sarah. It's okay. You said I was a survivor, so let me survive. Let me save us both. I'm listening, Sarah said. The password is November 819 Sophie. My mother's birthday and my father's middle name. And there are 3 backup copies. 1 in a safety deposit box in Geneva, 1 with my lawyer in Boston, and 1 uploaded to a server that will automatically release everything to every major news organization in the world if I don't check in every 72 hours. Sarah lowered her gun slowly. You're bluffing, am I? The last check-in was 6 days ago, so you have about 18 hours before everything goes public. Unless you let us go. Unless you let us live. Then I'll stop the release. I'll give you the copies. And everyone walks away. The Volkovs don't make deals with loose ends. Then you'll have to explain to them why you let their entire operation get exposed to the world. Why you let decades of work get destroyed. Because you wanted to play by the rules. Celeste saw the calculation in Sarah's eyes. The weighing of options. The realization that maybe, just maybe, this was bigger than revenge. Bigger than tying up loose ends. I need to make a call, Sarah said finally. She stepped away, phone to her ear. Tense conversation in Russian. Minutes that felt like hours. When she came back, her expression was different. Harder. Resolved. You have a deal. But if you're lying, if there's no dead man's switch, I'll hunt you both down personally. And I'll make it slow. I'm not lying. Then prove it. Check in. Right now. Celeste pulled out her phone with shaking hands. She opened an app, entered a code. A timer appeared on the screen. 72 hours. She reset it. Sarah watched, verifying. Then nodded to her men. They lowered their weapons. You have 24 hours to deliver the copies. All of them. And then you disappear. Both of you. New names. New lives. We never see you again. That's the deal. Done, Celeste said. Sarah and her men left. Just walked away, leaving Celeste and Roman alone in the empty warehouse. The moment they were gone, Roman grabbed Celeste, checking her for injuries. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? I'm fine. I'm okay. That was the bravest, stupidest thing I've ever seen. You could have gotten yourself killed, I know. But I couldn't let her kill you. I couldn't watch another person I care about die because of me. Roman pulled her close, his heart hammering against hers. There is no dead man's switch, is there? Celeste's silence was answer enough. You bluffed. You bluffed with our lives. It was all I had. The only card I could play. What happens in 24 hours when you can't deliver the copies? When they realize you lied? We run. We disappear. For real this time? Roman pulled back, looking at her. You'd do that? Give up your life? Your identity? Everything? I'd do anything to keep you alive. Don't you understand that yet? For a long moment, they just stared at each other. 2 broken people who'd found something real in the middle of chaos and danger and impossible choices. Then let's run, Roman said finally. Let's disappear together. Let them have their secrets and their crimes. I don't care anymore. I just want you. You'd give up everything? Your company? Your empire? Your life? Without hesitation. Because you're right. You're worth everything. They left the warehouse hand in hand, walking into an uncertain future, knowing that in 24 hours the Volkovs would realize they'd been played, knowing they'd have to run, knowing they'd spend the rest of their lives looking over their shoulders. But for the first time in years, neither of them was alone. As they reached Roman's car, Celeste's phone buzzed. Unknown number, She opened it, dread pooling in her stomach. The message was a photo. Sarah Chen's body, single gunshot to the head, and beneath it, words that made Celeste's blood run cold. "We don't like being lied to. We'll be seeing you very soon. And when we do, there won't be any more deals. The Volkov family always collects their debts." Roman's private plane cut through the night sky over the Atlantic. Destination, nowhere specific, just away. Celeste sat by the window, watching New York disappear behind them, knowing she'd never see it again. Sarah Chen was dead, killed by the very people she'd served for years, because she'd failed, because she'd let them get away. "We have maybe 12 hours before they find us," Roman said quietly. He sat across from her, laptop open, methodically destroying his digital footprint, transferring assets, closing accounts, erasing Roman Castellano piece by piece. "I'm sorry," Celeste whispered. "I'm so sorry I dragged you into this. Stop apologizing. I made my choice. You shouldn't have had to choose. You should be in Manhattan right now, running your empire, living your life." Roman closed the laptop, looking at her, really looking at her. "That wasn't a life. That was existence. You showed me the difference. By destroying everything you built, by showing me something worth more than money and power." He moved to sit beside her, taking her hand. "Do you regret it? Any of it?" Celeste thought about the question. About the gala that started everything. About Victor's death and Sarah's betrayal, and the impossible choices that had led them here. "No," she said finally. "I don't regret you." The plane landed in Iceland at dawn. They transferred to a smaller aircraft, then to a car, driving north into mountains and wilderness. Roman had a contact, someone who specialized in making people disappear, someone who'd done it before for people running. From worse things than the Volkov family, the safe house was barely more than a cabin, remote, off-grid, surrounded by nothing but rocks and sky and the promise of winter. Inside was sparse but functional. Bed, kitchen, fireplace, everything they'd need to survive. "This is it," Roman said, setting down their bags. "This is home now." Celeste looked around the small space. Compared to Roman's penthouse or even her tiny apartment, it was nothing. But it was theirs. It was safe. "How long do we have to stay here?" "Months, maybe years. Depends on how long the Volkovs keep looking." "And then what?" "Then we build something new. New names, new lives. Start over somewhere they'll never find us." It sounded simple. It sounded impossible. That first week passed in a blur of paranoia and hypervigilance. Every sound was a threat. Every distant car engine was the Volkovs coming to finish what they started. But slowly, as days turned into weeks, they began to relax, to believe they might actually be safe. They fell into routines. Roman chopped wood for the fire. Celeste learned to cook with limited supplies. They read books by candlelight, talked about everything and nothing, learned each other without the pressure of danger hanging over them. "Tell me something you've never told anyone," Roman said one night as they lay in bed, the fire casting shadows on the walls. "I used to dream about being nobody," Celeste admitted. "When I was married to Victor, when everything hurt and I felt trapped, I'd imagined just disappearing, becoming someone else, someone with no past and no pain. And now here I am, living that dream. And it's terrifying. Why? Because what if this is all I am? What if I'm just a collection of lies and fake names and running? What if there's nothing real underneath?" Roman turned to face her, his hand gentle on her cheek. "You're real. The woman who saved herself. The woman who sacrificed everything to protect someone she loved. That's real. That's you. And what about you? Do you regret walking away?" "Every single day," Roman said honestly. "I regret that I had to choose, that the world forced me into an impossible position. But I don't regret choosing you. That's the only real thing I've ever done." They made love that night with a desperation born of borrowed time, both knowing that this peace couldn't last forever, that eventually the world would find them. The call came on week 6. Roman's encrypted phone, the one that only 3 people in the world knew the number to. He answered it in the middle of the night, speaking in hushed tones while Celeste pretended to sleep. When he hung up, she felt him sit on the edge of the bed. Silent. Tense. "What is it?" she asked quietly. "My contact in Moscow, the one tracking the Volkov investigation. Dmitry Volkov was arrested this morning. The FBI finally found him." Celeste sat up. "That's good news, right?" That means we can go home. Roman's silence told her everything. What aren't you telling me? The files you gave them. The evidence. It's not enough. Dimitri's lawyers are already poking holes in the case. Without someone to testify, to authenticate the documents, to explain how they were obtained, the whole case could fall apart. They need me to testify. Yes. Celeste's heart sank. If I go back, if I testify, the Volkovs will know exactly where I am. They'll know when and where to find me. It'll be a death sentence. I know. So what do? Roman took her hand. We have two choices. We stay here, stay hidden, and let Dmitry Volkov walk free. Let him continue destroying lives. Let everyone who died because of him, including Victor and Sarah, die for nothing. Or you go back. You testify. You finish what you started. And you trust that the FBI can protect you this time. After Sarah? After everything? After everything. Celeste pulled away, standing. She walked to the window, looking out at the barren landscape. She'd run for so long, hidden for so many years, and here finally was the ultimate choice. Safety or justice, survival or doing what was right. If I testify, I'll have to leave you, she said quietly. Witness protection. New identity. They won't let you come with me. You're too visible, too recognizable. I know. You could die for me. I could die for you. But this we can't survive together. Roman came up behind her, his arms wrapping around her waist. Then we'll survive apart. And when it's over, when Dmitry is in prison and the threat is gone, I'll find you. However long it takes. Wherever you are, I'll find you. How will you find someone who doesn't exist? The same way I found you the first time. I'll actually look. Despite everything, Celeste laughed. A broken, painful sound. I don't want to lose you. Not after finally finding you. You won't lose me. I promise. This isn't goodbye. It's just see you later. 3 days later, Celeste stood in a federal courthouse in Manhattan. She'd come back. Turned herself in. Agreed to testify. The FBI had her in maximum security. 5 agents outside the room at all times. No chances this time. Roman stood in the gallery, watching her take the stand. They'd had 1 hour together before the trial. 1 hour to say everything and nothing. To hold each other and memorize the feeling of being together. State your name for the record, the prosecutor said. Celeste took a breath. My name is Celeste Morgan. Previously Celeste Moreau, and I'm here to tell you about the Volkov family's criminal enterprise. The testimony took 3 days. Celeste detailed everything. The files she'd found, the evidence she'd collected, the people who'd died trying to keep secrets buried. She was cross-examined, attacked, had her credibility questioned. But she stood firm. Dmitry Volkov watched from the defense table, his expression cold and calculating. Making eye contact, making sure she knew that even if he went to prison, his organization would remember. On the final day of testimony, the prosecutor rested. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, their verdict was unanimous. Guilty, on all counts. Dmitry Volkov would spend the rest of his life in prison. His organization dismantled. Dozens of arrests, years of crimes finally brought to justice. Celeste should have felt relief. Victory. But all she felt was empty. That night, she sat in a hotel room surrounded by U.S. Marshals. Tomorrow she'd leave. New name, new identity, new life somewhere far from New York. Somewhere Roman could never find her because even she wouldn't know where she was going until she arrived. A knock on the door. One of the marshals answered it, spoke in hushed tones, then turned to Celeste. You have a visitor. 5 minutes. Roman stepped into the room. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Probably hadn't. The marshals gave them space, but stayed within sight. No privacy, no intimacy, just 5 minutes to say goodbye. You did it, Roman said softly. You were amazing up there. It doesn't feel like winning. I know. They stood there, arms length apart, unable to touch, because if they started, they'd never stop. I'm going to find you, Roman said. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what name you're using or where they send you. I'll find you. You can't promise that. Watch me. Roman, you need to move on. Build a new life. Find someone who isn't broken and running and damaged. I don't want someone else. I want you, the real you, the woman who saved herself. The woman who stood up to monsters. The woman brave enough to sacrifice everything for what was right. Tears streamed down Celeste's face. What if you can't find me? What if this really is goodbye? Roman stepped closer, close enough that she could feel his warmth. Then I'll spend the rest of my life looking. But I'll find you. I promise. No more disappearing. For either of us. 1 minute, a marshal called out. Roman pulled something from his pocket. A small box. He opened it to reveal a simple gold ring. No diamonds, no ostentation. Just solid and real and permanent. I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. Not until we're actually together. But I want you to have this. So you remember. So you know that somewhere out there I'm looking for you. I'm waiting for you. And when I find you, I'm never letting you go again. He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Time's up, the marshal said firmly. Roman leaned in, pressing his forehead to hers. See you later, Celeste Morgan. Or whoever you're going to be. See you later, Roman Castellano. He left without looking back. Because if he looked back, he'd break. They'd both break. 2 years passed. Celeste became Emma Patterson, a librarian in Portland, Oregon. She had a small apartment, a quiet life. She wore the ring on a chain around her neck, hidden beneath her clothes. Sometimes she'd catch a glimpse of a tall man with dark hair, and her heart would race. But it was never him. Never Roman. The world was too big. The odds too impossible. Then one rainy afternoon, a man walked into her library. He didn't look at the books. Didn't ask for help. He just stood there, soaking wet, staring at her. She knew him instantly. Even though he'd aged, even though his hair was longer, his face harder, she knew. Excuse me, he said, his voice carefully neutral. I'm looking for a book. The Invisible Woman by Celeste Morgan. Do you have it? There was no such book. It didn't exist, but they both knew what he was really asking. Celeste's hands trembled as she came around the desk. I'm sorry, sir. We don't carry that title, but I think I know where you can find it. Where? Right here. Roman's carefully controlled expression shattered. I told you I'd find you. You did. How? I've been searching every database, every record, every small-town library in America, looking for a woman with emerald eyes who read too much and thought about books the way other people thought about religion. And 2 months ago, I found a blog post about forgotten heroines in literature written by a librarian in Portland who signed it E.M. Your initials backwards. That's incredibly specific detective work. I had a lot of time to think about. They stood in the middle of the library. Other patrons watching with curiosity. Rain hammered against the windows. The world continued spinning around them. So what happens now? Celeste asked. Roman pulled out a box. The same box from 2 years ago. Now I ask you properly. Celeste Morgan. Emma Patterson. Whoever you want to be. Will you marry me? Yes. No hesitation. No doubt. Just yes. He slid the ring onto her finger. Where it belonged. Where it had always belonged. The Volkov organization is completely dismantled, Roman said softly. Every member arrested or dead. You're safe now. Really safe. For the first time since we met. So we can stop running? We can stop running. We can stop hiding? We can stop hiding. Celeste launched herself into his arms. They held each other like people drowning finally finding air, like pieces of themselves they thought were lost forever, finally returning home. I love you, she whispered. I should have said it before. I should have said it every day. I know. I've always known. Because I love you too. They got married 3 weeks later. Small ceremony, no guests. Just them and a justice of the peace and the promise of forever. Roman sold his company. All of it, every share, every asset, started fresh. They moved to a small coastal town in Maine, bought a bookstore, named it Invisible Woman Books. On slow days, they'd sit behind the counter holding hands, reading in comfortable silence. On busy days, they'd work together, finishing each other's sentences, moving around each other like they'd always been there. Sometimes tourists would come in and recognize Roman, former billionaire, former power player, now just a man running a small-town bookstore with his wife. Don't you miss it? They'd ask. The money? The power? The empire? Roman would look at Celeste, shelving books or helping a customer or just existing in the same space as him. And he'd smile. Not even a little bit. 5 years after the trial, on the anniversary of their wedding, Celeste found Roman standing on the beach behind their house, watching the waves, peaceful in a way he'd never been in New York. "What are you thinking about?" she asked, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "About how I spent 32 years being invisible. Not the way you were, but in my own way, hiding behind money and power and control because I was terrified of letting anyone see the real me. And now? Now I'm seen, really seen, and it turns out that's better than any empire I could have built." Celeste turned him to face her. The sunset painted everything gold and red. His eyes, still steel gray, still intense but warmer now. Softer. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For finding me. For seeing me. For not giving up even when it was impossible. You saved yourself first. I just made sure you didn't have to do it alone anymore." They kissed as the sun sank into the ocean. Two people who'd been invisible, who'd been broken, who'd been running, finally finding home in each other. That night, curled up together in the small apartment above the bookstore, Celeste felt Roman's breathing slow into sleep. She looked at the ring on her finger. The same ring he'd given her 2 years ago in a hotel room surrounded by U.S. Marshals. The ring that had promised he'd find her, and he had. She thought about Victor, about Sarah, about all the people who'd been lost along the way, about the price of survival and the cost of justice. But mostly she thought about how sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself be seen. Let yourself be known. Let yourself be loved. Roman's arms tightened around her in his sleep, pulling her closer. Protective even in dreams. Celeste smiled. She'd spent so long being invisible, so long hiding, so long running from monsters, but she wasn't running anymore. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't invisible. She was home, and that was the most extraordinary thing of all. The end.